that is a cute picture, which I will save for later.
I could probably find. Well, no, I don't know if there's any artwork of Shinobu Kitsune that's official. There's a lot of cool DeviantArt of her, but yeah, I don't think that they've ever done any art of Kitsune, which is kind of weird. But it would be appropriate. Well, technically not, because that's JSA, and neither of you are JSA right now. I guess it should also load up your stream.
I mean, you don't have to load up the stream itself since you're in chat and you can hear us, or hear me rather. But if you want to load up the chat just in case. Also, the 10 centimeter blast thing seems to not exist.
You don't have any blast weapons in this one, so it's a moot point.
Unless
they've
this
cut out,
is...
there's like the actual Infinity thing has a bunch of stuff in it.
Oh, the actual module?
Yes.
Okay, good. Do they have a heavy gear mod, Kitten?
I think she was referring to making one. But which rule set?
I'm not entirely sure how those two games connect.
Which two games connect?
Kingdom Death and Heavy Gear. There's no Heavy Gear module, but putting it in brings up a bunch of the Kingdom Death stuff.
That would make more sense with was it Tribe 13? Or Tribe 8. Do. I should also, if you want, I've got the actual book because there's technically a story with Icestorm with the Icestorm campaign.
And you will read it to us.
I'll read the mission intro stuff. There's an actual short story that covers pages 6 and 7. That's basically a bunch of the nomads prepping for their attack. But at the start of each of the, actually, it's at the start and at the end, or just at the start? I think it's just at the start of each mission. Mission 1 is so long because it has to explain all the basic rules. Okay. Yeah, there's like a little, there's a little blurb at the start of each. Let me see if I can find an overall. See, it's got the unit fluff for all the units that are in the table or in the campaign. If you want, I can read that, or at least specifically the Fusiliers and the Aguacels, the Spanish people. And thought it had somewhere where it explains what was going on. I guess I'll just have to give you the quick and dirty.
That sounds perverse, but go ahead.
You got the gun sluts and you got the working class hoes, so perhaps appropriate.
So yeah, I think it's just the battle mat that's
Out of
off
yeah,
scale because everything else seems fine.
I think they probably scaled it off of the. There's an actual neoprene mat that those Polish guys make, Micro Art Studios.
Ah,
So it might be based off of the neoprene mat as opposed to the actual poster that you get.
I can see that. I am ready when you two are.
I'm ready as well. You want me to read anything before we start? Do any
Yeah.
explanation? I guess
Yeah, it
actually
is
probably explanation.
Yeah, do an explanation / introduction sort of thing first.
Okay. All right, so I actually read the little intro blurb here. It is 175 years into the future. The star systems colonized by humanity, collectively called the human sphere, have been claimed by massive interstellar nations who trade covert blows and secret wars to control the delicate balance of power. But an alien threat from the great beyond threatens to change everything. The main human nations, Pan-Oceania, the ultramodern hyperpower, Eugene, its advanced competitor, born of Asia, Hawk Islam, the new Islam of philosophy and humanism, the Nomads, anachronistic space wanderers, Ariadne, tough colonists stranded in a hostile world, and Aleph, the omnipresent AI that pulls the strings from the shadows along with the Toha, an alien race with its own mysterious agenda, must join forces to fight the outsiders of the combined army and its master, the EI, an alien artificial intelligence that plans to integrate the human sphere into its immense, all-devouring galactic empire. Will they be able to put their differences aside, or will their infighting be the undoing at the hands of the alien invaders? Here's a spoiler. Their differences are not going to be resolved.
That'll be resolved at the end of a gun.
Okay. So before we get the mission started, I'll go ahead and cover some of the actual aspects of the game. This is mission 1 of the Icestorm campaign. For anybody interested, it's a 2-player box set starring the Pan-Oceanians, who are over here in blue, being played by Kitsune, and the Nomads over here in red, being played by Red Kitten, who is in red. Maybe you should have changed your color to blue, Kitsune.
Purple is just blue and red. And since I primarily play the red nomads, purple is fine.
Bakunin's like mainly orange and white.
To be fair, when I get around to actually painting my stuff, they're going to be purple, so.
I'll give you a pass this time. Okay. So the most basic part, I guess, will be covering the roles. There's basically 2 types of role in Infinity: uncontested and contested. As you can see, it's using a D20. And basically, it comes down to you have a target number and you want to roll under to or equal to or under the target number. In an opposed roll, that's all you've got to worry about is just rolling under your target number. In an unopposed roll. In an opposed roll, you also have to roll under your target number while simultaneously being over whatever that your opponent rolled. So if your target number is 10 and your opponent's target number is 10, then whoever rolls the highest without going over 10 wins that roll.
Price is Right rules.
Basically, yes. Now, there is one thing that overrides that. If you roll your target number, so say you roll a 10 in the case of your target number being a 10, that's a critical, and it does a lot of things, but the most important thing is you win that roll unless they also critical. So if you're up against, say, somebody that has a target number of 14 and you have a target number of like 3, ties are nothing happens. Basically, you both chicken out at that point.
Your bullets collide with one another.
Or it is a cyberpunk setting, so yeah, bullets colliding is a possibility. Although Ariadne's bullets are testium, so they should just go through other people's bullets. But let's not get into that. Anyway, if you have a lower target number than your opponent, say yours is 10 kit and his is, and Kitsune's is like 14 or something, then if you roll a 10 and crit, and he rolls like a 12, you still win because you critted. That's the basics of the rolls. Now, the other big thing here is the game has kind of a weird system of, well, they call it the order system. If you look over here at these tokens, and actually you've got some over here too, each of these are basically you can spend one of these to have, oh, they flip.
Yep.
You can spend one of these to basically have a guy do something. So you spend an order and then you get an action of some sort. Walking is always part of an action, so you can basically do walking and combine it with anything else. You get these orders by, well, basically the number of troopers you have determines the number of orders you get. So in this case, you both have got 3 because you've got 3 guys. Yep.
2, 3. And
there's actually some weirder stuff, like involve these yellow tokens here, but I'll talk about that later on when we get to it. Okay. Now, I guess at this point we'll go to the stats. I've been kind of favoring Kitsune, so we'll go over to Kittens. So if you'll go over to the Augusel here. Remember earlier I was talking about target numbers? These are basically your target numbers. I have one of my packs. Yes, you can. There are entire teams that are built about basically taking a bunch of cheap order generators and pairing them with like a Rambo, as they call them, basically a super piece that just kills everything. Achilles is a classic example of a Rambo.
We call that the cheerleader squad.
Yeah, that's the Augusels and Fusiliers are what you would call cheerleaders. They're cheap. In the actual game, when you're building an army, they are cheap, and they're just basically there to give orders to stuff that is much better than they are. I would point out, though, that, you know, Fusiliers and these guys aren't, you know, I mean, it's not like total crap. You want to, these guys can do something if they need to, but you're generally just taking them to give your extra orders for your main pieces. Anyway, starting with the stats here, we have movement, and you see how it's 2 numbers, 4-4. Movement, the first number is how much you get if you just, you know, as that normal move. So your, you know, I said you can combine other actions with a movement. Well, when you do that, you get your movement of 4. You get that move of 4 in this case. The second number is how far you can go if you decide to spend your whole action moving, basically like a run or similar. Well, a run in any other game. So in this case, if you wanted to, like, say, move and shoot, you'd move 4 inches and then you would shoot. If you wanted to, like, double move, you would move 4 inches and then another 4 inches. Now, there are other models that have, like, 6 and 4 or 4 and 2, or generally that's the spread, 6-4, 4-2, and then a couple of 6-2s as well.
What if you want to shoot then move?
Oh, it doesn't matter. When it comes to the movement, everything, your movement is actually happening exactly at the same time that you're shooting. So there's actually a tactic that some people do where they'll move 2 inches to get a line of shot, to get a shot off, fire their shot, and then they'll duck back behind the cover.
Oh, okay.
Like go out of line of sight. And that's perfectly legal. You can do it at any point. The problem is your opponent, when they react, and I'll get into that in a minute, can target you at any point during your movement. So if, you know, you're dashing from cover to cover, they can shoot you when you're outside of the cover, even though you began and ended in cover.
I do remember reactions.
That's a big thing that I'll get to when I get into more of the actions here in general. The anyway, so after we've got the movement, now we're going to actually look at these here. I'll start with the simplest one, which is on the opposite end, silhouette. This right here just determines what silhouette template you use. There's a whole slew of them. Silhouette templates are the thing's got a really easy to do line of sight series. Basically, silhouette template is a little box that has a bunch of little squares on it. And if one of your squares, like if you put your silhouette template behind your model and put a silhouette template behind the enemy model, if one of your squares can completely see one of their squares, you can shoot them. Of course, you know, if you can not see more than 50%, if you can only see about 50% or less of their squares, then it's in cover. But it makes it very easy to do targeting, and in terms of game flow, it makes it really, really easy. Anyway, but that just tells you what template you use. So Silhouette 2 is like your standard humans. So your Augusales will be it. All the baseline troopers will be it. And most of the models in the game really will be Silhouette 2. Silhouette 1 are like these little bitty servant drones. They're like the doctors can bring like little helper robots that'll go and kill a patient for them.
The
So
little
that they don't
pandas?
have to. No, the pandas are bombs.
Well, I meant them for Silhouette ones.
Oh, no, they're bombs.
Oh.
They're marker tokens. Basically you throw the panda and then it runs and plants itself as a mine. So
Oh, well done.
I'm referring to Nazmats, which are the ones that come off the top of my head because those are the ones that the Icestorm uses. But they're like little bitty servant droids. They come in your support packs. Usually will have them, your support teams. Anyway, they're the only Silhouette ones. And then you have like Silhouette 3, which tend to be your remotes, I think. I'd have to go and grab my Silhouette markers. But you got like your remotes, and then you have all the way up to Silhouette 7 or 8. Maybe Silhouette 8. Silhouette 8, which is the Hawk Islam big spider tank. And that's the biggest model in the game. And it's the only Silhouette model in the game as well. So screw all you lessers. without Scorpion tanks. Anyway, now going for over here, we have W, which is just wounds. Basically how many hits you can take before you go down. Infinity actually has a system. It doesn't come up in this one. It'll be later in the campaign, though, where if you're wounded and you're not dead, because you can basically take a wound when you go to 0, you go to unconscious. If a doctor or a medic gets over to you, they can bring you back up. But if you're unconscious, you don't generate any orders, so you're, in this case, being wounded is the same as just being dead. So, and there are some models that have more than one. Most of your heavy infantry have 1 or 2. Sorry, not 1 or 2. They have like 2 or 3. BTS is armor versus hacking and bioweapons. Don't ask me why they're put together. It stands for biotechnological shield. But that's basically when you're hacked. That's what prevents the hacking from going off, and that's also what would prevent viral weapons and things like that. Arm is armor. This is basically your defense. Well, not your defense. If you're hit, this is what helps you not get wounded. I'll get into that when we get into weapons, but basically it's armor and BTS function as roles differently from everything else, and I'll cover them when we get to weapons. Okay. Now we get into the stats that are actual target numbers. So CC is your close combat. Basically, in the case of the Augusel, if he attacks somebody in close combat, he wants to roll 13 or under. Fairly easy there. Ballistic or BS is ballistic skill. If he shoots somebody, he wants to roll 11 or under. PH is physique, and that is used for a lot of different things. Mostly, like if you do a special movement like jumping or close combat damage is run off of your physique. Trying to think what else uses physique. There's a few other catch-all roles, but basically the main thing is, I think stopping goop attacks uses physique. But anyway, there's a couple things that run off physique. Oh, dodge, of course. There's a skill you can do if you don't want to shoot back at somebody. You just want to dodge. You want to try to, move out of the way of the bullet. You would roll with your physique skill instead of your ballistic skill. Because if you're just shooting back at them, you're engaged in a firefight, and I'll cover that in a little bit. But physique is used for mainly for dodging and for physical activities such as jumping and things like that. Whip or willpower is probably one of the most important skills in the game, because this is the skill that does all of the things. You need to push a button on an objective, you roll under willpower. You need to make a hacking attack, you use your willpower as your attack bonus, as your attack target number. Try to defend from it, use that as use willpower as your Defense, basically willpower it's a super important skill. Panos suffers because they don't have much willpower. They're all fat and lazy. Okay, that covers all of. Oh yeah, and over here, this right here just indicates what type of order they generate. Like I said, we'll get into that one in the next couple of missions when we actually get different types of orders. And this is, of course, their unit badge. Every unit in the game has a unit badge. Beyond that, Kitsune is blocking the combi rifle and the knife, which are just the weapons. This is also the area where if they had any special skills or other weapons, it would show up down here. Okay, so now we can go ahead and scroll down a little bit and go to the weapons. Everybody's favorite, the combi rifle. Yay!
I prefer the
your
viral sniper rifles from the Loop Guru.
Viral sniper rifles are great. As somebody that plays Takaslan, we use viral weapons all the time.
I thought Hawk was more about setting things on fire.
We do that too, but Hawk is the Doctor's faction. We probably have the second most viral weaponry behind the space artichokes, the Toho.
Artichokes.
The combi rifle is your basic weapon. Most of your troops have one of these in their profile, or at least one profile that carries these. They are your, what's that British rifle, main battle rifle? Basically, they're all bullpups if they're combi rifles. Now, other than this pretty picture of this here combi rifle, you've got these actual stats down here. Distance modifiers are, okay, so you can see if you zoom in there, it's got numbers 0 to 16 inches, 16 to 32, and 32 to 48. So these are all your different range bands. And this is a modifier applied to your target number. So, for instance, our Aguacil shooting within 16 inches is going to have +3 to his BS of 11, making him a 14. Conversely, if he's shooting at something over 16 inches, he's going to have a -3 to his BS and be down to just an 8. Or if you're super desperate and you're shooting at over 32 inches, which I don't believe is actually possible on this map, you're at -6. And these range bands, there's a lot of different changes for different weapons. Sniper rifles obviously have a huge, like they're +3 all the way out to like 32 or 48. But they're like -3 at 0 to 6 or 0 to 8. And then below that we have damage. That's how much damage the weapon does on each hit. Basically, so it's like say I shoot, so I've shot your Aguacil here. So bang, I shot you and I hit you. Now you would do the armor roll, which I mentioned earlier. So you would roll your d20, and your goal is to actually get over the damage, and you get to add your armor as a modifier. So me shooting your Aguacil, you'd be at, your damage 13, so you'd want to roll like and it's actually fully on over. So I had to think about that there for a second. But yeah, it's full on over. So you would have to have a 13 on your d20 to get over the get over the damage 13 and ignore the hit. Otherwise, you take a wound. So that, like I said, that part's fairly simple. Most damage is within the realm of 13 to 15. I think there's maybe one or two weapons that go up to 16. But for the most part, it's 13 is kind of the baseline. If you can survive a 13, well, really, you want to plan on, if you want to know how good an armor something is, ask how easy it is for it to survive a damage 13, because that's what most damage is.
Fair enough.
Okay. And the final stat here is the burst. And this is how many shots the gun fires whenever you pull the trigger. So in the case of a contested roll, the Aguacil shooting something would be rolling 3 dice, and every one of those dice that goes under his ballistic skill and beats the other person's roll is a hit, and they would have to make a damage roll versus it. Quick look at the knife. Knife is a burst 1. That is all close combat weapons are a burst 1. I can't think of any off the top of my head that are more than that. I guess technically double assault pistols goes over that. Damage is CPH -1, so in this case it would be damage 9. The knife is not a particularly impressive close combat weapon. Yes, you can split fire. So if you jump out, and actually it is in your best interest to do split fire, because at this point we're probably best to actually talk about an actual shooting. So I don't feel like moving any of these models. Is Gandalf still over here? Yes. So Gandalf is going to go somewhere over here, and that's fine. And we'll drop Boobsy McBooberson here. If I can get it to go, it's in a base. Okay. So Gandalf is shooting, I don't know, magic missile at the
The Kefka statue.
Yeah, the Kefka statue. And the Kefka, so on his turn, he's moved into position, and
The
he's
hell?
disappeared. Somebody's touched it, or maybe I've touched
What
it.
the fuck?
Anyway, he's moved into position and he wants to fire. So on his turn, I'm spending 1 order. Is there a spare order token?
Just use the irregular order.
Okay. So he's like, I'm spending my order to move Gandalf. So I'll move Gandalf by 4 inches. Boop. We'll just say that he did. And now I'm going to shoot Kefka. So, you'd measure it out. 10 inches, so within combi rifle range. So he would say, I'm shooting Kefka. Actually, I backed up there. Scratch that. So he goes, okay, I'm spending my order and I'm moving. First part of my action is making my movement. That's weird. I'm making my movement. At that point, Kefka, this is a game that actually has reactions in addition to actions. Kefka is not just going to stand there and do nothing during his action. So in real life, real life. Anyway, he's going to actually have seen, oh no, Gandalf is coming over here to shoot me. So he will be planning on doing something in return, what we call a reaction, an ARO. The acronym escapes me, active reactive order or something like that. But anyway,
I think that's right.
He's going to say, all right, I see Gandalf moving out. I know he's going to do something. So I'm going to make an arrow, and my arrow is going to be, there's a list of them, but we'll say shooting in this case. So I'm going to shoot him with my combi rifle, preferably before he shoots me with his combi rifle. And Gandalf goes, okay, well, for the second part of my order here, I'm going to shoot you, as you pretty plainly predicted, with my combi rifle. And at that point, no, it is not taking action. Or more specifically, an arrow is its own thing. You have an infinite number of arrows, and everybody can get an arrow, and everybody can have as many arrows as they want. The only restriction is you can only arrow against one action. And you have to do your arrow in the first part of their action. So you'd have to do it during the movement. If for some reason you said, no, you just said he moves, and you say, I don't want to arrow at this time, barring some very special cases, which are way down the road, at that point you can't do anything. You can't arrow anymore. You've given up the chance to do that. So it gets kind of a guessing game, because there are certain situations, well, as you play the game, you'll encounter certain situations where you're kind of like, I don't really want to react directly to this because he might do something, stuff like that. Or he's got a grenade launcher, I want to react by like dodging out of the way or something like that, as opposed to just shooting him. But he doesn't shoot me anyway because he was just faking me out because he wanted to double move. Stuff like that. But anyway, arrow's only restriction is you can only have one per action. This is relevant because there are a situation where you can have multiple models move at once or move as together collectively as one action. That's way down the road, but in that situation, if like 3 guys come out and they're all doing it, so they're all moving as part of the same action, you can choose to react to one of them, but you can't react to all of them.
Makes
And
sense.
that's, like I said, that's kind of a complicated situation that doesn't come up that much. For all intents and purposes, whenever a model moves or comes into your line of sight or in your zone of control, which is just the area. It's been a while since I've gotten to play. I think it's 6 inches, 6 or 8 inches, but comes within a certain distance of you, then you can react to them. Most cases, it's going to be when they enter your line of sight, you just get your reaction to them. Now, here's the problem though. An ARO shooting is not the same as an actual like active shooting. An ARO shooting, in the case of an arrow, all shot or all bursts are reduced down to just one. So he's shooting at you with his gun, his combi rifle, same weapon, but he's getting to use his whole burst of 3 versus your one shot. Now there are ways around that, but that's kind of later. So you can kind of see that shooting, there's always a danger shooting somebody, but at the same time, it's much safer to rely on, you don't want to just hang your guy out there and be like, I don't care, I'm going to get shot off at him anyway, because they're going to shoot at you with more dice. And in this game, having higher skill is great, but having more dice to throw at the problem is much better because it's much more likely that you'll get a higher number in that case. But anyway, in this case, you've got Gandalf declaring he's going to shoot. You've already declared, or Kefka's already declared that they're going to arrow shoot back. At that point, we'd roll some dice. So Kefka rolls their dice. And I'm going to borrow some dice. I'll borrow some dice from over here. And then Gandalf rolls his dice. Looking for 14 because he's just going to be an Agusil profile.
4,
so
4, 11.
all 3 of his hit. But if you look over here, Kefka's got a 7. That 7 actually will cancel out these 2. So that is the one good thing about an ARO is even if you don't win the opposed roll, you still cancel everything. It's all kind of like an independent roll. You're rolling 3 dice, but it's like 3 independent events.
Oh.
Now, if he'd rolled like, say, a 1, then all 3 of those shots would have hit. And that's probably enough to get started.
Seems like it, and if anything comes up, can always cover it when it does.
Like I said, this is pretty well a this thing does really well about bringing up just 1 or 2 things at a time. So I think I've covered everything it wants you to learn this. Line of fire. Basically, if you can see 50% of the model, or sorry, 50% of its silhouette, then you get, actually these might have built-in silhouette. Oop, check. Toggle. I guess not.
Yeah, it wouldn't be under toggle, it would be under state. Which it doesn't have.
We should see here, armored, close combat, dodges. Oh yes, and of course, like I said before, you can always dodge. Dodging, if you had, in that prior example, if Kefka had rolled higher than all 3 of his rolls, all 3 of Gandalf's rolls, then he would have actually hit Gandalf, and Gandalf would be the one making an armor save. In the case of a dodge, if you win the dodge, you don't do anything to them, you just don't get shot. But there are advantages to doing a dodge. For one, dodges are almost never modified, as opposed to shooting, which can be modified by range and cover and a bunch of other aspects.
Yeah.
Also, when you dodge, you can dodge to prone, which is where you just jump to the ground, and that could potentially make it where they can't see you anymore. All right, so I guess at this point, I will read mission 1. Do you want me to read the Pano/Fusilier fluff, or Pano and Nomad fluff, or just the mission stuff here?
I am cool with you reading it, Kitten. Or do you want to just get started? Kitten says sure.
All right. Panoceana is number 1, the greatest power in the human sphere. It has the most planets, the healthiest economy, and the most advanced technology. Pan-Oceania is a true melting pot of cultures that, with their pragmatic and generous character, consider themselves the defenders of the Western traditions of democracy and welfare. Pan-Oceanians are a proud people who often come across as slightly conceited, with their constant reminders of the technological superiority of their society and particularly that of their army. Fusiliers are the backbone of the Pan-Oceanian military complex, with presence in all Pan-Oceanian territories. The members of this light infantry corps are professional soldiers trained in a wide variety of combat situations who know they can count on plentiful resources and constant support. They are fine combatants, thoroughly drilled, and ready to participate in modern-day conflicts, both domestic and foreign. Fusiliers are the best corps in the Army, the ones who buckle down and get things done. The rest are there only to give them support. Forget about fancy high-tech weapons and special operations. Fusiliers are the Army. And we have nomads. The nomad nation is a coalition of 3 colossal ships with inhabitants dissatisfied with a society run by faceless macroeconomic interests and the AI Aleph. Decided to break away and create their own societies in space, moving between systems and trading with the locals. Tunguska lives off the traffic and storage of information. Corregidor offers skilled labor at competitive prices, and Bakunin specializes in all that is exotic, illegal, or both, from fashion to nanoengineering. The Corregidor Aguacels, and I'm sorry to any Spanish-speaking person because I'm sure I have mangled that. The Aguacels are a military police regiment of Corregidor, often repurposed as light infantry for defensive purposes or as mercenary troops. Aguacels are good soldiers, skilled, obstinate people who give it their very best every time, while running their mouths like drunken sailors. They are one of Corregidor's most profitable assets, regularly hired out as soldiers of fortune, which means everyone in the Aguacel Corps has seen several campaigns worth of combat. Professionalism and endurance are the main assets in the international mercenary market, where their services are always in high demand. Then there's a short story, which I'm going to skip. Mission 1, Perimeter Control. Pan-Oceania early warning systems have detected an unidentified shuttle following an approach vector towards Mototrinoka's R&D facilities on Insum Dal. As per established security protocols, a rapid response team has been mobilized to identify and intercept the intruders. Due to the presence of ongoing top-secret research in the Mototricana compound, use of lethal force has been authorized. Standard operational procedure for the first phase of the operation is to secure the perimeter and all access routes to avoid a breach or escape. This mission is basically just your 3 Aguacels versus your 3 Aguacels versus 3 Fusiliers, and the goal is to just basically kill the other team. Mission 1 is pretty simple.
Yay, murder.
Okay. Oh, I forgot to mention modifiers. The sum of all modifiers can never become greater than -12 or go over +12. So you can never have, I'm not sure. I probably don't have the best headset. I definitely don't have the best voice.
No, it's not just use them. It might be Discord, the server that the private call uses. Do you want to try switching over to my Discord server, Waiting? That way I can actually control which voice server it is.
Okay, I can.
Okay. Create instant invite. Yeah, it wasn't just use them.
Okay, is that any better?
Say a few things.
Do, re, mi, fa.
Seems to be a bit better.
Okay.
I will turn your volume up a little bit because it seemed a little low. There we go. Yeah, Discord's voice servers can get wonky, and it was sounding a little bit crackly and robotic.
Okie dokie. So everything better now on the
Seems to be.
Twitch side and everything.
Yep. Well, it seems to be on my end, which should come through on Twitch. So how do we determine who goes first?
Okay, so a initiative roll is a face-to-face roll, and it is done by taking your lieutenant, which you guys don't have one, so just pick an Alguacil and pick a Fusilier, and you want to roll 1d20 and get under willpower. Basically, it's a face-to-face roll using willpower. Kitten has the advantage here.
Yeah, I rolled a 17, so...
Well, I'm betting your willpower is much, yep, 12. So Kitten goes first, or, well, she has the option of choosing who goes first.
You want me to go first?
Oh, one other thing here about you can climb up boxes. If you
Okay.
look, there are ladders on some of these. Like you can see ladders on the side and ladders right here.
Yep.
If you use those, you can climb as a normal move action. You just basically go up the ladder. If you choose not to use the ladder, you have to spend your whole turn climbing, and you still only go your first walk value.
Okay, Kitten will go first.
She's changing it up on you. Okay. So what you'll want to do, Kitten, is before you start measuring stuff out, you need to pick one of your orders here and flip it and declare what model you're going to be moving with it. Okie dokie.
The crackling is back, and I've tried switching servers, so it might be on your end, unfortunately.
Like I said, I don't have the best of headsets. I'm sorry for that.
No worries. It's not indecipherable.
Boop. I'm guessing for the first part of your action was a movement. Are you also doing a movement for the second part? Good dokie. All right. You then, yep. Oh yes. One other thing, cover, which I probably should have mentioned earlier. Cover gives you a +3 modifier to both to hit. So like shooting you, so when they shoot you and you're in cover, they have a -3 modifier, and you get a +3 modifier to your armor roll and BTS roll. So being in cover is really good in this game.
Seems like it. Jesus.
That's why you want to. Yeah, there's a Panoshianan robot that is armor 10 and goes up to armor 13 when it's in cover.
Jesus.
Your combi rifles are meaningless to me. Facing does actually matter in this game, but it's kind of hard to display facing on this, as near as I can see.
Yeah, it's doesn't really have a back and front for these.
It's much like I said, they're using kind of cut down assets on this one, and yeah, it does actually mention the 180 arc, so it's a 180-degree arc in front. I didn't know if for the starting mission they even bothered mentioning that, but they do. And of course, it is the longest.
Well, I have a fix for that. Copy and paste. Oh, actually, I'll just hand them over to Kitten. Turn these and just point them in the direction that your models are pointing.
Well, that'll work too. While you're doing that, I'm going to very quickly check mission 2.
Okay.
Okay, because I can't remember what all mission 2 introduces. It's just the introduction of lieutenants.
Ah,
Okay.
okay. All right, I will spend one action or one order to move. To move this guy right here.
Okay.
So first move is going to be.
All right. So Kitten may want to watch the Agusels most relevant to this.
Yep.
See if anything, if he pops out.
Moving this one over here.
Although you've got pretty good, you got a pretty good way of getting around without being seen.
Yeah, I don't think any of them can see me the way I'm going. So I will move 1 inch there. Oh yeah, you know what? Fuck it, I will use this. Ah, no. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit awkward. This is going to be very fucking awkward. Yeah, there definitely need a better ruler for this, so can move that to there. Which gets me to the point where I can do this, and then 3 inches up here. And then second move will be, or second part of the action is just going to be a straight move, which will get me right up there. Then I am going to go ahead and use another order. Oops, move this up here for him.
And the full thing that the guy did,
Mm-hmm.
or the full Infinity one, I believe the bases are actually marked.
Oh, good. So next one is going to be to move this guy right here over on the left. Oops, I can actually mark it. I can move him there to this point. And then...
Run, run.
Yep, that's pretty much what he's doing. Running like a coward. And the second part is also just another move.
Hitten's team has dreadlocks, so I think she automatically wins. See, which Fusilier model did they use? The old man with a beard? Yep, the old man with a beard.
Old beardy Joel. Okay, and it would only be the first part of the move action to use this ladder, right?
The ladder is basically free movement, so you can walk up it whatever the distance is up
Okay.
without taking any penalty. It's if you tried to go somewhere without a ladder that it takes up the entire order.
Oh, I don't think we can measure vertical with this. Oh, yeah, we can.
Oh,
It's 3 inches.
so if you're at the base, you can basically just climb up there and be up there.
Yep.
Now, height does not incur an advantage in and of itself, other than making it easier to see stuff. But this little rim here,
Mm-hmm.
which is way smaller than I've actually got these boxes. The rim is supposed to be high enough to provide cover. Oh, Oh yeah, I forgot. That actually brings up an interesting. You'll actually be able to use an interesting ability that's very rarely used. If you're at, well, not really very rarely used, but one I've almost never used. If you are on a ledge over somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you can, as part of your action, do a peek, where you basically just lean over and
Mm-hmm.
shoot down on them. You count as being in cover, um, and that's pretty much it. You just sort of peek over there at them and shoot. And of course, at the end of it, you straighten back up, and they can't see you to shoot you back on your active turn.
Nice, and you have to be right at the edge.
Yep. Yes, you'll have to be right at the edge for that.
Okay. All right, then I will move him over here with the second part.
This is why you should play Hakaslam Kitten, because if you play Hakaslam, you could have an impersonation marker walk up there and just gut him.
Mm.
Hello, I am friend. I will not hurt you. Please ignore knife in hand.
Oh, hi, friend.
Hakaslam can get pretty ridiculous. There's an assassin build list that is all impersonation markers.
And I am done.
All right. Well, Kitten, all is not lost. You could potentially, since it's only 3 inches high, climb up there. You would both have no cover, but
We would both have no cover and both at be +3.
yep.
Oh, do we
Oh,
reroll?
sorry. Initiative is only at the start of the game. See, one of the big things about it is when you actually start a true game, you get either initiative or choice of table side, and Infinity Rulebook flat out says when you build a table, don't worry about making it fair for both sides, because even if you build the table to be grossly unfair for unfair for one side, although they do recommend don't put sniper nests in deployment zones. Um,
Yeah.
um, Even if you kind of make it unfair for one, like one side has better terrain than the other, there's no guarantee that you're going to be the one that actually gets to pick that. Also, you can do some pretty crazy shenanigans when you're the second player. You can fiddle with orders and a couple other things that you get only if you're the second player. Yep. I'm guessing. Oh, before you say what you're going to do, this is the part where Kitsune says he can make his reaction.
Yep, he's going to
Make that
react
reaction.
by shooting.
It's an old man. Yep, it is exposed shots. Kitsune has 1 dice, and you have 3. Kitsune needs a 15 or lower, and you need a 14 or lower. This is why I like Hakaslam, where I get +6 at this range, because we don't believe in combi rifles. We believe in shotguns
I
attached
rolled
to.
an 11.
Okay, so you need to roll at least an 11.
Yep, so
Okay.
Kitten wins.
Yep. Your 11 does cancel out her 2 and her 5, so she only hits you once. Why are you upside down?
To represent him being knocked over.
He's not knocked over. Oh,
Well, technically he's unconscious if there were a doctor around.
not yet.
Oh yeah,
You got to make an
the
armor roll
armor roll.
first. You're killing him before his time's up.
He's old. He's gonna die anyway. Armor 1, so I need to roll a 13
A
or
13.
higher.
Yep.
Now
2 is almost the exact opposite of a 13. Before you do that, hold on. This is what these tokens are for. Conk. Get that out of here. Although, let's move it away from your order pool so there's no confusion. Okay. Technically, I can also mention this. Well, we'll wait until your turn starts, and then I'll explain how you when you determine orders, because that's going to be relevant now. All right. Now it is Kitten's roof. You got to be careful here, Kitten, because he can have more than one guy react if you're not. If you just show yourself to two of them. Now, from the edge there, like right around here, you could peek over and get him from like that, because that's basically you just lean over and then shoot down. And that would be. Oh. You can always just wait too if you don't want to. If you just what they call idle. If you just want to not do anything.
Actually, in hindsight, I should have brought one over here. That way they'd have cover.
Yes. The thing is, actually, I kind of lied on that. If when they have the option to do an arrow, they're supposed to do it on the first action. However, if you do an order that can't legitimately generate an arrow until the second action, then they still get a chance to arrow. So you can move to a position, and then like in your first move, and stay out of line of sight and say, "Hey, you can't see me, so you can't arrow against me. I'm going to move out." But the minute you move out, oh, you've done something that generates an arrow. Technically, it's in the second half of your order, but yeah. Okie dokie. You could also drop prone and crawl over there, but you'd have to stand up to shoot. Bada beep, bada boop. Bada boom. Big bada boom. Okay. Actually, I'm going to have to see it from from Kitten's point of view, because so silhouette markers would be much more useful. Okay.
Can you? By who?
Probably. Yes, you have 180-degree arc. Yeah, and you've actually got him looking at the wall there, Kitsune, for some reason.
Yeah.
Your mistake has saved the day, Kitsune. Considering how he's up against the side of it there and looking at it, I don't think you can see greater than 50% of him. Although if you peeked over, well, pretty sure you have to do a peek as part of your start. So I think shooting him like this, he's going to have cover, at least a little bit. Well, let me get. So there's basically a cylinder here. It's a tough call. I wish I had the silhouette template.
By the way, you can actually change your camera perspective with the P button.
Yes, peak is basically a move. I believe. Let me double check that, because they don't explain this in the starter, or they don't explain that in that pamphlet. But peak is an action that is available. Characteristics, weaponry. I believe actions are.
And no, from where my guy's point of view is, he would not be able to see up there. From your point of view, though. Yes, you can.
Okay, short skill. Like I said, I think from where Kitten's at, she'll get a shot regardless. But I'm checking the. Okay. Facing, cautious movement, climb, dodge, coup de grace. Oh yeah, if you wanted to, Kitten, you could just walk up to the dude that's unconscious and stab him. Lean out. The user must be in base contact with an edge of an elevated position or high ground. It is a common skill. Lean out is an entire order composed of a move plus BS attack. Let's see here. Exceptionally ambiguous. You can hold the model there. Okay. So yes, basically, if you you count it as walking an inch off of the table there, or what basically we count as like walking an inch off of your thing and then jumping back. So
I accidentally moved the guy. He's back here. There we go.
all right, let's see here. Oh, but you only get the cover benefit if you are. Oh, you only get the cover. Oh, never mind. You've got a parapet. So because you've got that little lip there, you get the cover benefit. But if you were to do it on like something that did not have a lip, it would not provide a cover unless you were prone. Infinity has a lot of weird rules, interactions that you just gotta kind of learn as you play. But yeah, in this case, you can peek out. Basically, just you would have to add an inch to your movement, where you basically go an inch off the wall here and then jump back. Boop 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 boop.
So yeah, that inch of movement would give you the line of sight.
Oh, no, I was rereading it. So it looks like you have to end where you're going to be at, but it's basically you move an inch out and then you have to move an inch back in. So you technically need an inch. Reading the skill, you would need an inch to go out and then an inch to come back in. But as long as you can make that, then you should be okay. All right. So you technically walk an inch out onto the thin air here in terms of what it's actually going on in the rules, and then you walk an inch back in.
And then you drop the miniature. It breaks. You cry. Okay.
Peek. All right. You do not have cover because of the peak. Roof kittens is sneaky kittens.
Yep.
So I'm guessing you're going to arrow that.
Yes.
That peek out. Especially since a peek out automatically has to have a BS attack to it. So.
And the cover she gives me what?
You'll have a -3 to your roll. So probably discounting your, I'm guessing you're within 16 inches of each other. That
Yes.
is almost surely within 16. So basically you just reroll your straight BS. You don't get the +3 from the gun.
Okay.
Boop, 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 boop. 13. Nope. If you had the +3.
If I had one less, it would have been a crit.
So Kitten's getting +3. I believe that puts her at 14 for target. Yes. So make 3 armor rolls.
Yay.
Well,
one of them.
well, Kitten says wait.
Oh.
Well, you can select multiple at once. Oh, really, it's -3 to the 10. So technically it's -3 to 10, but it's kind of the same difference in this one. And Kitsune made 3 rolls and failed 2 of them.
Yep.
So you don't get an unconscious marker. You just go straight to dead.
Squick. Into the void with. Into the
Mission
void
one
with you.
is. Mission 1 is usually pretty much a one-sided roll on one or the other because you're missing a. Whoa!
What the hell? Okay.
I think you were still holding on to your Fusilier. Okay. So that's it for you, you said, Kitten? Good dokie. All right. So now we generate orders. You get a number of orders equal to the number of troopers you have in the upstate. So,
yep, so
Grand Conscious Trooper doesn't count. Yep. That
Actually,
one
wait a
orders.
second. Wouldn't I get my Okay, never mind.
Say lieutenant order. You don't get the lieutenant
No, no, no,
order
no.
because we don't have lieutenants.
For some reason, I thought we had started an entirely new round.
Oh, no.
Okay. I will be going with my single dude.
He'll probably want to hang in cover.
Yes, yes, he will.
He may also want to do the old trick of step out just enough to see the target, shoot, and then step back completely into hiding.
Yep, that's the plan. That should be more than enough. There we go. That's where I wanted to go.
Oh, oop.
Which
Probably have to do some finagling here because they said this is kind of a lot easier when you've got models on the tabletop to kind of see what you're doing. But I believe, yeah, I think it's that point. I can see some of your base there, and you just need some of your base. So, boop, 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 boop.
Yep. Bang, bang, react. That's the smart thing to do, kitten. Pew, pew.
Alrighty. So, are you guys within 16? Oh,
let's check that.
okay.
Yep, 8 inches.
So, both of you get +3 to your TNs from being in the sweet spot. Both of you get -3 TNs because you're both in cover. That little lip does count as cover. Trust me, if you actually see the model of this box, it is.
I have the boxes. I've seen them.
Oh, Kitten has probably just won that one.
Probably, knowing her.
You need to roll 12.
Hey.
Oh, crit. So nothing happens. And then use the last 2 inches of your movement to hide back behind the box, is my suggestion.
Yep. Well, last 3 inches, but yeah.
Hide behind the box and pray that she's merciful.
She's never merciful. Okay.
That's the thing about mission 1, though, is like I say, it's more to teach than anything. So
yeah.
it almost is one-sided because usually whoever gets the first good shot off has got this. Oh, I think. Oh, by the way, all games are only 3 rounds, so this is technically the last round.
I'll count it as a victory if I get one guy to survive.
This is why you should have brought a tag. Pano loves its tags. Oh, I see what she's doing.
Naughty, naughty kittens.
Yeah, I don't think you can get all of them in position, Kitten, but yeah, he's going to have to take at least 2 reactions, maybe 3.
Not necessarily.
Hey, this is a good example of you can split your burst, 2 on one, 1 on the other.
Yeah.
Spinning around.
You done with your moves, kitten? Okay, this guy is going to move.
Not going to do any coup de grace on that poor fellow there. You're just going to let him suffer up there.
Okay.
Do kittens play with their food? Is that why that guy's still alive?
About this.
Corregidor doesn't need slave labor. And why have slave labor when this is a Pano citizen? That's big bucks if you ransom them back. Now, Bakunin,
Actually, I should probably look from up here.
Actually, you might be able to, if you play this right, you might be able to get line of sight on just the one guy.
Yep, that was the plan. Pretty sure where I'm at, I can get. It's just line of sight between those two.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing, but I'm not the one being shot. I'll let Kitten decide if,
Yeah, line of sight clear there, and
looks like it goes to the box there.
yep.
That's another big thing about Infinity is doing what they call pie slicing, where you just very carefully move out to try to minimize the number of reactions.
Yep. Okay, bang, bang, react. Same thing as before. We're on our naked ballistic skills. Correct?
Yep. 16, yep, you're then +3. Well, the 20 is usually pretty good, but that's a fail.
Yep, so I've got 2.
What did Kitten roll?
I think she accidentally rolled 2. Oh,
19.
19.
Oh, and she goes under. Let's see. Yeah, so that would be 10, and that would be 20. So yeah. Yes, the
Ah, that
soak
was a
roll.
soak roll. Okay.
And you added the +3 because the 6 + 1 + 3 is not going to get 13, or well 14.
Then he goes back into hiding. Brave Pano soldier that he is. Not the face, please. I'm too young to die.
I think you may still be dragging your ruler around, or is that just on my screen?
I think that's just on your screen. Because I haven't had that clicked in forever. And I'm not entirely sure where the hell it is anyway.
Yeah, actually,
oh, there it is.
Yeah, you got the finger thing. No, I mean the little purple line is extending out there.
Okay, yeah, that's on your end. Because I haven't had a purple line in a little while.
Alrighty, Kitten. So I believe it's now your turn.
Well, let me
You
try
have
doing the purple line again a couple times, seeing if it fixes that.
actually
that
moved
better?
this unconscious token. Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, it is just 3 rounds. So that was that 3 rounds.
Yep,
First
that was
move,
third round.
second. Okay. Yep. All right. Let me just double check on that. I should say normally it's 3 rounds. In-game conditions. Actually, in this one you play till everybody's dead.
Oh, well then.
Yep. Normally though it's a 3-rounder, but normally you have 10 models, so 3 rounds takes a lot longer. 10 models and there's a lot more weird interactions. It's a bit easier to make 3 rounds last an hour when you've got impersonation and camo and all of the craziness, all the zaniness. Which, when do we start throwing in the zaniness, like the really cool stuff? Oh,
like
turn
slut
3.
nuns?
Mission 3. Slut Nun is like way, way last, and Slut Nun is horribly gimped in this one.
Aw.
Which, to be fair, the military order Father Knight is also horribly gimped in this one, and that is a big deal because he is a killer. Father Knight is literally, I'm going to walk down this alleyway. You can shoot me if you like. It's only going to piss me off. And then I'm going to run you through with this big sword I carry.
Ah, crap.
What? Oh. Peeky poke.
Yep, my reaction is going to be to dodge. Because I don't think I can do anything else. Other than bang bang.
You'd be at 12, and you'd be at 12, and that Agicel is at 14. Yep.
Well, I mean, technically I've got 12 versus 10 is slightly better, but no.
Mm, I'd actually probably recommend shooting.
Oh,
Basically because, well, the main thing is a dodge gives you a move, but it's like a 2-inch move. And the only direction you could dodge to be out of line of sight puts you in line of sight of one of the guys up there. So,
yeah, that's true. On the other
but
hand,
that's
depending on where I dodge, I would be able to get our cover from both of them.
that's true. If you dodge to back to there, then he can still shoot you, but at the same time, you could potentially have cover versus him.
Yep, and if I
Uh,
survive, I would have
oh, never mind. She used both actions to get there. So yeah, a dodge is perfectly fine in this case.
dodge. It is.
I would just be careful not to dodge into line of sight. Try to, well, yeah, try to dodge into cover is probably your best bet, and then hope and pray that she's a merciful kitten next turn.
No, she won't be. Okay, rolling my dodge. Uh,
I'm just saying,
ah,
roll the dodge. Hey, you critted,
wow.
so unless she rolled a 14, which she did not, so you
Hooray.
can move 2 inches in any direction.
Okay,
None of
let's.
you have survived an armor check yet, which is unfortunate because we don't get to talk about morale. Another thing willpower is used for. While he's doing the move there, I'll just go ahead and explain it. If you survive a soak row there, you have to make a morale check, which is just an unopposed willpower test. If you pass it, then nothing happens. You just get to stand there and do nothing. If you fail it, then you must move 2 inches into cover, or if you can failing to do that, you must go prone. Basically, kind of, you're oh crap, I got to get out of line of sight. If you're a religious troop, then the opposite happens. You have to actually pass the roll to not just stand there and take the hits. Which actually, I believe we have religious troops in this one. I believe, oddly enough, Pano has a religious troop in this one. Does he still get it? Nope, the Akalays do not have religious troop in this. They have taken it away from them. Normally they do, though. Of course,
Okay.
I play military orders. Everybody's a religious troop in military orders. Or Hawk Islam, where half of them are religious troops.
Okay, so my go.
Seems that way.
Okay, given where I am, you can definitely see me from both of them. So, fuck it, balls to the wall. Let's play with that religious insanity. We will activate to shoot. Pew pew pew.
You can split your burst between the two arrows,
Yep.
assuming Kitten does 2 arrows, and I don't know why she wouldn't. Bang, bang.
2 on the guy up top and 1 on the guy on the bottom. So, guy up top first.
Oh, 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 oh. And, well, that's a fail. And I don't see what the other one is.
5.
Oh,
5 and a 15. Okay.
okay. So armor roll.
Does she get a bonus to her armor?
Yes, although a 20 will do it all day, every day.
Okay.
Technically, her armor is 24 right now, so.
Jesus. Okay, and yeah, morale.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Thank you, Kitten. You actually get to demonstrate that. 13, which is, I believe, exactly your willpower. So,
Hooray!
dude takes the bullet and pounds his chest or something.
Alright, and now the guy on the ground.
Don't throw it off the table.
10. Yay!
Well, I guess you've learned the marksman of the group. Oh, so he's going to have to duck behind the cargo pod there. So yeah, move him basically out of line of sight. As soon as he goes out of line of sight, he can stop moving. So boop.
Oh, that poor guy's going to die now.
Maybe. Do be a little careful, Kitsune, because technically that wall means you'll have to hop over it, so he can shoot you while you're out of cover as well. But there's really no good way of hitting him out of cover without doing that. So no, actually, even if you go, well, I guess if you go prone, you're the size of a base. So I guess if you went all the way back, went prone, and crawled over there, you might possibly not be seen. Or I guess technically you could see if you could walk and get on that cargo container and then peek down and shoot him in the head from the top. But I think that's probably going to be too far away. If only you were a Kawarji and then you could just jump up onto the box. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, so Kitten's moving. You may declare an arrow and shoot her at any point during her movement. I would suggest doing it when she has to go over this lip pier and is out of cover.
Let's give
And
that
she
a
declares. Then, if she's shooting you, which I assume she is, she can declare to shoot you at any point during her action, which I'm assuming she's going to shoot you when you're out of cover.
So both of us are out of cover. Well within the green range.
So it's 15 versus 14, but 3 shots versus 1.
Yep.
Well, I think that's a crit, Kitten.
Jesus.
I'm guessing you did not crit.
I did not. I got a 7.
Okay. When you crit, there is no armor save. It just goes straight through it.
Pew pew.
So, poof.
Plus, she would get 1 extra hit from the 9.
Boop. Okay. Technically, you need to roll an armor save on that 9 and that 4 as well. So you would get 3 hits.
Oh, well done.
You would get 3 hits because you rolled 3. The crit is its own thing, though. So in this case, your crit goes straight through the armor, but Kitsune would still have to make 2 armor saves because you also hit him 2 more times. Because I believe you completely failed your roll, and that's because he completely failed the roll, I believe.
I got a 7, so I...
Oh! Okay, so never mind. Then you would... I need to change the batteries in my mouse. You would technically get 2 hits, yeah. So the crit and then the 9.
No. Come,
so just
stay,
roll
stay.
1 armor save. Oh, so you just need to roll 1 armor save.
17.
Okay, so you are not dead, but it doesn't matter because you're unconscious and Kitten may do with your bodies as she wishes.
Oh, that's ominous.
I'd be crazier if it was the female Fusilier, the blonde.
She was probably the first one to go down. Actually, no, she's probably the fucking sharpshooter down here. The one that survived to the end. Because she wasn't stupid enough to go charging in.
I always like to use her as my paramedic. Alright, so that is mission 1. There should be a thing for mission 2 in this as well. If
there
you
is.
want to go ahead and give that a try tonight.
Kitten, do you feel up to doing mission 2 tonight?
That introduces lieutenants. Or lieutenants for those weird Britishy people.
So, lieutenants. She's good for tonight? Okay. Thank you for running this, Waiting. This was a lot of fun.
Okay. Said we can do the said next time we can do the mission 2 and 3, because like I said, I think it goes mission 2, 3, 4. Is there a 4? 4, and then 5 is, I believe, the last one. Yeah. So there's 5 missions total, and each one adds something new. Mission 2 adds lieutenants, which are a big deal. Mission 3 adds your paratrooper and your TO camo guy. TO camo is the ghost in the shell. I disappear and do all sorts of weird craziness kind of stuff.
I remember that stuff.
TO camo is a pain in the butt if you don't have if you don't have multispectral visors. One of these is supposed to introduce the snipper as well, but I don't know which one has the sniper. Sniper.
I think it's the one with the camo.
No, that one introduces the paratrooper and the camo. It's mission 4. Mission 4 is when you introduce snipers.
Mm.
It's kind of cruel of them to have a TO camo dude in a mission that you don't have any kind of MSV to stop it. But
I thought the opposite one did have some sort of.
No, the accolade is basically it's to demonstrate hidden deployment versus parachute deployment.
Mm.
There are certain things, Kitten, where you can have troops that are deployed that are not that you take but are not deployed on the field. And because this game, you don't have to tell people you don't have to tell people your full list. You just have to give them basically you just have to give them the basic stat lines of everything they can see on the table or everything they perceive on the table. Because there is a thing called holoprojector where you can have a model pretend to be a different model. And I'm not talking about like the impersonation where impersonation is they're pretending to be an enemy model. This is like, oh look, I've got like 5 Achilles on the field. You can only have one, so clearly 4 of those are just a shell game, but stuff like that. And if they ask to see the stats on any of those models, you just hand them Achilles stats. More realistically, it's something like in Icestorm, we tend to use Hafsas to try to hide Husal. We use Hafsas to try to hide Saladin, which is one of our special characters.
This game that I have an issue with.
Oh, what would that be? 3-turn limit. Yeah, that's kind of a tournament thing. To be honest, I've played this game a lot. It sounds a lot rougher than it actually is. Usually by turn 3, you've got a pretty good idea of who's going to win the game regardless. It's just at this level with only 3 models, it's not you don't really get it, get the feel of it. It's so I'm trying to basically 3-turn limit is when you actually play a full game. 3-turn limit makes a lot more sense, and it's pretty much every time I've ever played a full game, third turn was usually about the time we knew who was going to win regardless. There are a couple of times where it's like doing the 3rd turn Hail Mary and you pull it off, but a lot of times in a turn 3, I'm either right at the cusp of having most of the victory points, or my opponent's killed all my models off and is just go and do whatever he pleases. Actually, to be honest, there are some missions where you lose all of your models, still win the game because you did most of the objectives, because the game also ends as soon as all the enemy models are dead and you score immediately. So you have to kind of also be careful with that. But yeah, like I said, I'd watch a full game sometime, Kitten, and then you'll kind of see that the 3-turn limit isn't quite the limitation it sounds like when you actually see a full game. Which is probably why this one doesn't have the 3-turn limit, because they want you to learn all the stuff and
Farm motto, for instance, but so many times the game really should go an extra turn or two. Some of the big ships are almost impossible to take down in that time. Big fan of the turn limits in general for games. Yeah, I can agree with her. I kind of like the way Malifaux does it, in that at the end of the I believe it's 6th turn for Malifaux currently.
The random play an
Yeah.
extra turn stuff.
Yeah, you flip a card, and it will help determine if the game goes on or if you tally up victory points now.
It
But
doesn't. A lot of times, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I agree with you in most cases. It's just I played a lot of Infinity, and when I first heard it, turn limits, turn limits were also kind of like, and it's only 3 turns. What can you do in 3 turns? But really, trust me, watch a full game, a full 300-point game.
yeah, I've
Three
played
turn,
like 200, 225 point games, and there is it definitely each turn definitely feels a lot longer than
yeah,
a single turn does in other games. Yeah, and
yeah.
most of the
That's
time they are
most time
just
it is.
there for tournament play.
I mean, technically, you can continue going on in Infinity. There's no hard limit on it. It's just all the missions have a 3 turn limit.
Yeah.
I think there's some fan-based missions that don't have a 3 turn limit, but all the official missions, which are made to be played at a tournament, are 3 turns.
I don't mean when I say it feels longer, I don't mean it in the sense of I don't mean it in the sense of length. I mean in the sense of what you get done
Yes,
with because you get the
you've got 10 to 20 orders in a normal game. Um, that's sort of the big thing on that. Uh, like I said, in most games or in most Infinity games, you're going to have a bunch of cheerleading units, which are basically just going to hide in your back line and provide the orders. Um, and you're generally only having a few units that are moving and doing operations. Uh, but I mean, I get what you're saying. I just, like I said, I'm just recommending seeing a full game in action where you've got the full, 10 to 14 orders,
we'll get to
which
that
is,
eventually.
or 20 orders if you're playing Ariadna. 20
Werewolves,
orders
werewolves
and
everywhere.
oh, you mean the actual werewolves or the endopodes?
The actual werewolves.
Fair enough, kitten. We take your concerns into consideration.
Oh god. That just made the frame rate die.
It's making a horrible sound too. And there it goes. Um, just as a prelude though, mission 2 will have actually the first time you get heavy infantry, and it's also the first time you get lieutenants. That's something that wasn't touched on in this mission, kitten. Is you actually have a leader, a lieutenant, and unlike most games, you don't have to publicly say who your leader is, and you generally don't want to publicly tell who your leader is, because if they kill your leader, it screws you up really hard. Oh well, I kind of get that, but heavy gear plays a little bit differently from that. Um, at least in my experiences, heavy gear I seem to have larger terrain or larger areas that I'm playing on. Infinity is always a 4x4, and troops can move really fast when they want to. It's kind of disconcerting.
I do
Usually
want to try heavy gear
by
again.
usually by turn 2 or turn 3, I've got a lot of people dead. Oh, also something that didn't show up in this kitten is there's quite a few units that have a skill called infiltration, where they will start halfway up the board as opposed into the much more limited deployment zone. Ah, okay. I said we'll give this a. I said we'll give this a shot, kitten, when they've got more. We got more models. Kind of see how you like it there, because when you've got 10 orders to play with, you can do a lot more stuff. 3 orders is kind of it's just kind of a taste, really. Which is, like I said, probably why this one doesn't have a turn limit.
And to be fair, the hold on, let me scroll back up. She did comment about that being like one Oops. Um. Bleh. I forgot what I was going to say.
Oops.
Ah, the flick command. There's a flick command? What's
Yep.
ooh, flick. That would be F6.
Pew.
Oops. that went far.
But anyway, on the lieutenants, if you know how I mentioned you've got those green orders and then there's those other tokens, the yellow orders. Yellow orders are what's called irregular orders. Units that generate irregular orders only can ever use their orders for themselves. Basically, they're your non-professional troops. You know, I think actually all of the werewolves are non-professional troops. Because apparently you can't impose military discipline on a werewolf. The really crazy thing though is when your lieutenant dies, you go into what's called the loss of lieutenant state, and on your next turn, when you're suffering from loss of lieutenant, all of your orders are generated as irregular orders. And when that happens, it's bad. It can really hamstring your plans. At the end of the turn that you're in loss of lieutenant, you can declare a new lieutenant. Once again, you don't have to tell the person who your lieutenant is, and it's in your interest to never tell them who your lieutenant is because they will gun for them.
Oh god, what the hell just happened?
Sounds like, yeah, see, some of these bases are supposed to be metal.
Yeah, and it was having a fit.
But anyway, thank you for giving it a try because, like I said, I like Infinity. I
Yeah.
have sadly not had a chance to play much, so my skills are a little rusty. Be more than happy to pick it up again some other time.
Yeah,
And after we get through Icestorm, hopefully actually have a full-on game.
Yeah,
I guess it'd be a
definitely
Nomad
helps
Civil
that
War,
the
though.
rules and the stats are free online.
Yes, that's anybody watching and interested. You can go to infinitythegame.com, and every rule stat is free.
They even have a nice official like army builder thing that's really really good.
Yes, and it'll print out the full stat lines and weapon loadouts of the models. Army building this game is really fun. Yeah, I kind of like the dice mechanics in it too. It's different, at least for me. I'm used to 40K style, roll d6s.
Roll all the d6s. Okay, this flick thing is
Those poor
silly.
August
Yeah, it's way too
cells.
fun. It's like flick everything into the void.
Yeah. Just for purposes of terror, maybe we could load up the actual Infinity mod, and then you can see just the level of insanity that actually is a full-on Infinity game.
Let me see if
Not playing. I mean, just like show you what all's in it, because there's a lot of stuff in there.
Corvus Belli's Infinity. Infinity loading.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Table wants to open URL. Google. Yeah. Google.
Ooh. Yeah, it will load up a bunch of stuff. Yes, that's
Oh
fine.
wow. Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, this is a fan-made thing. This thing's awesome. This is a fan-made thing that one of the guys made because hacking gets really complicated.
Oh god.
So you can just literally go like, I have a hacking device. I'm targeting an enemy model. I'm using gotcha on him, and here's all the stuff I need to do gotcha. This is Captain Spud is probably not watching this, but if he was, then thank you, Captain Spud, because this is amazing. Ah, no. There we go. I've unfortunately messed it up. And then this is the wiki, which is where you can look at, you can look up stuff. Like all the rules are on there. Ooh, these are cool trucks. Ariadne, you can't have nice things because you crash it.
Oh, neat. It actually...
Let's see.
And it does have facing. Awesome.
Hold on. Pan-Oceania. I believe it's under search. So no. It's a deal draw. Oh. Okay. So let's see here. It does help if you've actually memorized all of the unit icons. Boop.
Oh, nice. And a whole bunch of terrain. Like a fuck ton of terrain. Jesus.
Yeah, this game requires a bunch of terrain. A bunch of terrain. There you go, kitten. There's you a blonde-headed. There you go, kitten. There's you a blonde super soldier. Boop, boop. Who, for some reason, I can't move. John! Oh.
It's because Kitten was taking her. There's the lizard pilot.
Oh, yeah. Hey, they used the drawing.
Yep.
On the model, that's not gray. All that gray on that model is not gray. She's not really wearing a gray bodysuit.
Oh, that's not a gray bodysuit. That's just a biomod. That's her flesh.
I can believe it. The lizard pilots are from Bakunin. Okay. Let me
Panda.
see if I can find some of my favorite stuff here. Let me find the Hanzakut, see if it's the good Hanzakut or the other good Hanzakut.
Yeah, I really like the some of the nomad stuff. Let's see, here's Ariadne. Oh yeah, the fucking werewolf with the guns.
Oh, here we go.
And the redhead.
There's a scorpion tank.
This is a really well-made mod. Like,
it is. It is. They got the.
I wish a bunch of the other miniatures games had mods this nice.
Okay, good. That's the actual new updated one. Here we go. Boop and boop and boop and boop and boop. Did it drop all of them?
Oh, nice.
Maybe.
And they do actually have silhouette settings.
There we go.
Do they all have silhouette settings? Yes, they do. Very nice.
Oh, state silhouette.
State number 2 is silhouette.
Actually, mine is kind of. I dropped all of the odaliscas out, so they're spawning slowly.
Mm.
Ah!
Oh, very cool. And you can do them all in case needed. Ooh, color tint.
Camo.
Neon pink.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful camo. Oh, I think the game is catching up to me. That's.
And the wiki with rules and stuff. Basic rules.
Wiki helps. State 1. Okay. Oh, the authorized bounty hunter with the bike that you have to get really lucky to roll. See, we've got a distinct lack of Uching, of Qing. There you go, Kitsune. There's Kitsune.
Well, that's awkward.
What? Oh,
Ah, there we go. Oh, no, I actually can't select a color.
select a color for what?
I was going to change color to see if I could actually, like, select the, blue side so I could test this little shaded area.
Oh, hey, they've got an objective room, which is actually really good.
But once I selected change color, it won't actually let me, it won't even let me scroll. Oh, wait, is that it? No? Yeah, it has me stuck on the one of the tablets, and I can't click out of it. So I can't even zoom in and out.
Ah,
A
what?
red kitten, you say?
Oh, a Zondcat.
I can't go to look at it.
A Zondcat. Yeah, that's I think Zondcats are silhouette 1. Yeah. So you know how I was talking about earlier? You can have little servant bots. A Zondcat is a servant bot. It's a parachuting servant bot. It's the only parachuting servant, I think. Comes with one of the Tom. I think the Tomcats drop them. I think the Tomcats bring them. Taganska.
Okay, I'm going to close down the stream right now because since I can't move the camera at all, let's see. Nope, can't move the camera at all. So probably gonna be kind of boring to look at this screen constantly. I'll still be in voice and I'll leave the module up to show things off to Kitten and everything. But
Alrighty.
thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. We'll try to do missions 2 and 3 possibly this week if we can get everybody together.
Okay.
Depends heavily on Waiton's work schedule and how Kitten is feeling. And since I work at home, my schedule doesn't matter. Otherwise, tomorrow will probably be more Kingdom Death and possibly some more Warframe streaming either before or afterwards because I enjoyed that a whole bunch. But yeah, for now, thank you for watching and talk to you later.